It's finally here. The second leg, Manchester City versus Real Madrid. Obviously, G, you are a Real Madrid fan. Let's get straight into it. What is your preview and what is your prediction for the second leg?
This is it. This is the biggest game of the season for both teams. I think this is the game that's going to decide who wins the Champions League, in my opinion. And I think it's a high mountain to climb for Real Madrid. I think Real Madrid are going to be the underdogs going into this game just because of how good Manchester City is at home. They're one of the toughest teams to play at home in the world, in Europe. I mean, the Etihad is a fortress. And when this match was announced that the first leg was going to be in Spain, I already looked at it and said that's going to be tough because we were going to have to get a very good result in Spain to then go back to the Etihad and be a little bit more comfortable. But they were able to get out with a draw. I think we arguably should have won that game. I mean, we deserved to win that game more than City did, in my opinion. But that's just not how it played out. And now we are going into this 1-1 on aggregate. But I think I've liked for what the players have said. They're looking at this as if it is a final because that's what realistically it is. It's 1-1-1. There's no way goal. So you go there and it's whoever wins on the day gets to go through. And we all know how Real Madrid wins finals. We all know how they perform in finals. So I think they're going to be the underdog, but I'm always going to ride with Real Madrid. I think they're going to do enough to get this done. I have faith in Carlo Ancelotti. I have faith that Karim Benzema isn't going to have as poor of a game as he did in the first leg. I think he's going to pick it up because we know how he likes to play in England. We know how Vinny likes to play against these English fullbacks, man. He looks like Ronaldinho out there. I think Vinny's the best player in the world right now. And that's what Man City are going to have to think about. Look, I think Kevin De Bruyne is spectacular. I think he's the best player on City, and that's a guy we have to circle that. We have to stop that guy. I mean, realistically, Valverde should be on him like a hip. They should be just right there on him the entire game because that's the only way we're going to have a chance. But I think Real Madrid are going to do what it takes to get it done, and I see them winning 2-1.
I'm not shocked, obviously, by your prediction. Look, I echo what you said. This is the biggest game of the season for both teams, and I think the winner of this game will go on to win the Champions League. And look, no disrespect to Inter, but these are the best two teams left in the competition. We all know what Real Madrid do in the Champions League, and obviously Man City are on unbelievable form right now. Obviously, I predicted that a long time ago that Man City would go on a crazy unbeaten streak, and that's exactly what they've done. Man City right now are playing unbelievable, and I fully expect them to win at home here against Real Madrid. First of all, like you said, the Etihad, look, whether or not you want to joke, it's the empty had, they don't have any fans, whatever. At home, Man City are utterly phenomenal. They rarely lose at home. The Etihad is a fortress, and at home, Man City are a force to be reckoned with. And I fully expect Man City to take care of their business here at home. There's been lots of speculation. Is Pep Guardiola going to overthink this second leg? I don't think he will. I think he's going to go with what's been working for Man City. And realistically, is Haaland going to get pocketed again? I don't know. I don't see that happening. I think Real Madrid they're not going to be able to stop this Man City attack in this match. And look, I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout. I'm not saying that. But I think Man City take care of their business. They win 2-1 and they move on to the Champions League final. I think they ultimately win the Champions League, winning their first title. And look, no disrespect to Inter, but there are no match for either of these two teams. I mean, in a one-off game in a final, obviously anything can happen, but I'm not going to sit here and predict Inter to be any of these two teams. This basically is the final, like you said, and I just don't know how Real Madrid are going to stop this Man City team right now because, look, obviously in Spain, they did a great job. They limited what Man City were able to do. But this is an Etihad. This is a whole different ball game. They play better. They play more fluid. They play better football. Everything is going to be different in this match. Man City getting that 1-1 result in Spain was huge. I said after that game, this is a win for them. All they have to do is go to the Etihad and win. That's something they have done almost every game this season, pretty much. So I fully expect Man City to take care of their business. Obviously, I could be sitting here tomorrow eating my words because I have bet against Real Madrid time and time again, most of the time because I want to see them lose so that, you cry on here, obviously. And I've been wrong many times. If there's one team that I should have learned by now not to bet against, it's Real Madrid because they consistently win and they prove me wrong time and time again. But I'm going to do it again. I think Man City win 2-1 and they take care of their business in advance.
And I mean, That's what a lot of the bettors are going with. I mean, they are the favorites going into this game, and obviously, a lot of people give me a lot of flack. I mean, I saw all over TikTok. So how is Real Madrid not the favorites? I'm just telling you what the bettors are saying. I'm not the one that's saying I'm not. I mean, I'm picking Real Madrid to win this game, but this is almost an unmovable object versus an unstoppable force because Real Madrid are just the most winning team, improbable team in the Champions League, and right now Manchester City are almost unbeatable at the Etihad. So it's really going to be a chess match of the highest degree. I think it's going to really a lot of factors are going to go into this. One of them is going to be how Camavinga's fitness because he picked up a little knock in
Yeah.
in a pointless
He shouldn't have
league
been
game. I
playing in
don't
that
know. I
game.
don't know why he was playing at all. I mean, you don't start Vinny, you don't start Camavinga either. You keep them both off, but that's another big factor. I know Ferland Mendy came back. I like Ferland Mendy as much as people don't like him. I like him. He played a big integral role in winning us the Champions League the previous year, so I think he's still class. But obviously, what
He's not going to
Camavinga's
play, though, I don't think.
yeah, it depends on what's going to happen. I doubt he starts, but I still like him. But Camavinga, is he going to be able to be as mobile as he was because he was the driving force in that Vinicius goal? I mean, he just took it from one side of the pitch to the other. I mean, he drove it right down City, and he
Yeah.
was very integral. But we don't know if his fitness and another thing, Militao is not suspended. And look, as much as Madrid fans and I mean other people world love Militao, I'm not a huge fan of Militao. I think there's points where he's spotty, he can be exposed. And what Rudiger did to Haaland, I mean, he pocketed Haaland almost to a way that I predicted. I said I came on here before that Rudiger was going to be a spectacular matchup against Haaland because he's tall, he's physical, and you see Rudiger has that screw loose in his head. He loves these challenges. I mean, we saw it even when in losing efforts when Chelsea played Barcelona. So many times that he would take on the challenge of Messi because he likes these challenges. When he gets this, he plays up to it. I mean, everybody's talking about Erling Haaland, this guy that's unstoppable, that no one could deal with. And Rudiger said, okay, I'm going to be on him the entire game. And we saw almost basketball type, that he was getting low and, into his hip. It's stuff I never even see. I said, who does this? And Rudiger, he's just that competitive guy. He's big enough to deal with Erling Haaland. And we saw a very quiet Erling Haaland in that game. I mean, he really did nothing.
Yeah.
And
he's won a Champions League, obviously, with Chelsea. He has experience.
Yeah, he has the experience to do this. I mean, he's a good winner. And I like Militao. I think Militao is still young. I think he's still going to be the center back of the future. But for right now, after that, you cannot bench Rudiger for Militao. You just can't do that.
So
because
who would you start? What would your center back pairing? If you were Carlo Ancelotti, what would your center back pairing be for this matchup against Man City?
David Alaba and Antonio Rudiger, the center back duo that played spectacular. I mean, Alaba had very, very clutch tackles to stop Haaland from scoring. I mean, in that game, it was a good effort from both of them, but Rudiger was the main guy that took on that challenge. But they played spectacular. I mean, I would see it as a huge detriment that you switch it up like that because, look, I think if you put Militao to do against Haaland and try and make him do what Rudiger did, he's going to get exposed. Look, as much as he's one of the best center back, Ancelotti wants to say he's the best center back in the world. I don't see it. I think Erling Haaland would eat him up. As much as I love Militao, I think he doesn't have the psyche for it. I think Rudiger has that screw loose. He has that that little crazy in him to be able to almost lure him, trick himself. That I'm gonna pocket him. He's easy. This is easy work, and that's what he made it look like.
Yeah, look, I agree. I think Carlo Ancelotti would be making a huge mistake if he benches Rudiger in this game, and obviously people are going to say, who am I to question Ancelotti if he does bench him? And rightfully so. Ancelotti has won pretty much everything. I mean, who am I to question him? But I do think it would be a huge mistake because how do you bench a guy that just pocketed Haaland? Haaland is the most informed striker in the world. You could say the most informed, maybe even player in the world. A guy that's broken the Premier League scoring record, a record people thought would never be broken. He has been amazing in the Champions League. He has done everything. He's passed every test. But the only team that he probably didn't cook is Real Madrid in that first leg. He was pocketed. He was, kind of a ghost performance. He was not his usual self. We didn't see him do what he's done to pretty much everyone. And who gets most of the credit for that? Antonio Rudiger. So I think you'd be making a huge mistake to bench him. If it's not broke, don't fix it. I know Militao on his day maybe is one of the best center backs in the world, maybe the best center back in the world, but he's coming off of a suspension. And look, if Rudiger played bad in that first leg, sure, you put in Militao, you act like it never happened. but he didn't. He played amazing. He passed every test. He did it with flying colors. He was probably the best center back on the field for either team
He was the
and
best defender.
best defender. So it would be a huge mistake, in my opinion, to bench him. I think Ancelotti would regret that decision. I don't think he's going to do that, though. I've seen the leaks. There has been so many conflicting reports about, this guy's bench, Rodrigo's bench, Militao starting.
Yeah.
Everyone is they're like, nobody really knows. Everyone's just making up stuff at this point. But what I'll say is we will find out about 2 hours before the match because that's when Real Madrid typically announce their lineups. But I just think benching Rudiger would be a huge mistake. I don't think they're going to do it. But if they do it, they are going to regret it after the end of the 90 minutes when Haaland is celebrating, moving on to the Champions League final with Man City. And at that point, in the back of their heads, they're thinking, we've won the Champions League. It's over. That's what they're thinking in the back of their head.
This is the test for Man City. If they can get by Real Madrid, they're going to be like, well, we've already won it. I mean, that was the hurdle. That is the hurdle. The hurdle of this competition. But yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of reports that Ancelotti's going to play a 4-4-2 and try and
as an inverted left back.
Yeah, I don't really know the how that works. Maybe the Camavinga injury changes the option because the point I thought at first when these reports are coming out that that might be a good idea. You play Camavinga in more an advanced role. I mean, he was cooking Man City when he was able to go and attack more. He's not as good. He's all right defensively, but I mean he made very clutch tackles. But you want him attacking right there behind Vinicius. That's how you scored.
Yeah,
and I didn't think it was a horrible idea, but that could change depending on how Camavinga's fitness is. Yeah. I think the 4-3-3 was fine. I think Benzema just did not play as well as to his standards, and I think he's going to have a bounce back game. I think he's going to play well, and I think the other players are going to do similar things. Carvajal played well. I mean, when I think about everybody played well, that's the only guy I really worry about sometimes. I mean, I'll never forget the absolute horrible penalty he gave Raheem Sterling, in 2021. That still gives me nightmares. I can't believe that. But he picks and chooses the games when to play well, and I think he will do what he needs to do. And I trust the City team. I like to see Tchouaméni a bit more. I think Tchouaméni had a good shot to win us the game at the dying moments. I like to see him maybe play subbed in a bit earlier if things aren't going as planned. Because look, he can get us a goal. I mean, we saw what he did against England in the World Cup. I mean, he could score a banger. If he really is in the feel for it, he can do that. Yeah. But it's all going to come down to how Benzema, Vinny, and Camavinga play, because I think those are our three best players. I mean, not counting Courtois, because Courtois is always. I mean, he plays spectacular, but
obviously yesterday, and this will be the final talking point. We saw yesterday Inter moving on to the Champions League final. Obviously, the winner of Man City versus Real Madrid. At this point, we don't know who it is at the time of recording. We're expecting the winner of this to go on and win the final. But if you had to put a percentage on it, what chance do you give Inter to beat either of these two teams in the final, whoever makes it?
1%. I just don't think they. I mean, they're going to be playing with house money. That's the thing. That's the X factor here. That they're going to be the team that's going to be. No one had us making it this far, so let's just go on and win it all. I mean, if they're playing Manchester City, I'd probably give them a 2% chance. If they're playing Real Madrid, I'd give them 1%, because obviously, I mean, they go against Man City. Man City have no history, and I mean, we saw them lose to a Chelsea team that were better than was weaker than them. Yeah. So it's not out of the question, but just from how good the City team is, I really doubt that. I mean, it's not the same City team that lost to Chelsea, and Inter. They're all right. I mean, I just don't think they have as many world-class players as Real Madrid and City. Is that too crazy to say? Yeah. And it is football, but it'd be a wash. I'd see Real Madrid or Man City beating Inter comfortably, 2 or 3-0.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm not going to quite put my number as low as you. I would say if I have to put a percentage on it, I would give Inter a 10% chance against. I mean,
that's only 9 points better, man. I mean,
what I'll say is, if you look at Inter, like you said, they're playing with house money, so they have an advantage in that sense going into the game, as which they're the underdogs. No one's expecting them to win. I'm not expecting them to win. You're not expecting them to win. I don't think a single pundit or no one is going to predict Inter to win this game.
Outside of Milan.
I think Inter fans won't even expect them to win this game. So that is an advantage. And when you're going into a final, it's a one-off game. Anything can happen. You score a goal, you nick a goal early, you park the bus, anything can happen. It's football. We have seen crazy things happen before. That's why I'm going to go ahead and give them a 10% chance against either of these two teams. If it's against Real Madrid, I might have to lower my number a little bit because we know how Real Madrid perform in finals. But the point overall stands. I just think Inter, they have a slight chance because of exactly what I just said. They could nick a goal. They have Lautaro Martinez. They have Lukaku, who is picking up form. I'm not going to totally count them out 100%. But what I'll say is I would be shocked if they do go on to win it because, first of all, that semifinal AC Milan versus Inter Milan, that was a snooze fest. I mean, I almost fell asleep during that game.
It was not good.
So I don't expect them, and honestly, I want to have an entertaining final. So that's why I kind of hope to see Inter play up, and I think they will. But I'm not obviously expecting them to win. I don't think they will. But it would be interesting, and I'm not going to 100% count them out. I think 1% is a bit harsh. It's football. That's what I'll say. It's football. Anything can happen. And in a final, anything can happen because, like I said, you nick a goal, you get a lucky bounce, you get a pen, anything can happen. And that's exactly what could happen. I mean, we've seen underdogs win in the past. I mean, I think back even just a few years ago with my club, Chelsea. It's not quite the same because Chelsea is, different than this Inter Milan team. Better, I would say.
I would say they're better, yeah.
But Man City were better than Chelsea that season, and I don't really think it was close. And we saw Chelsea, they nicked a goal. I mean, they defended well. Inter Milan, in order to win, Inter Milan are going to have to defend well, and they're going to have to get a lucky bounce here or there. They're going to have to nick a goal. That's what's going to have to happen. That's exactly what Chelsea did. Obviously, this Man City team is different. This Real Madrid team is different than it's been in the past. I'm not going to sit up here and predict it, but I'm not going to totally count them out either. Obviously, this is something, it'll be easier to be more definitive when I know who it's going to be. I mean, I guess we'll find out in about, 15 hours time.
Yeah, 15 hours, yeah.
But ultimately, this is a game. This is when we've all circled on our calendars. We've been waiting for it. If you feel like me that the other semifinal was a bit of a snooze fest, this one is going to be, get your pills ready. I mean, your heart rate is going to be going crazy. I mean, this is going to be the game. And I know everyone else is just as excited for it as we are.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, I'm not excited to have to sit through that. I mean,
you're a bit nervous, yeah.
I mean, no matter through any damn game. I mean, it's hard to sit through. I mean, I'm gonna get probably flashbacks to the World Cup ones where my watch is beeping up and my heart rate's going up. It's asking me if I'm in the middle of a workout and shit.
Yeah. But let us know in the comments down below your prediction for this match. Who do you think is gonna win? Give us your score prediction. Who's gonna score? Do you think that Rudiger will start? Should he start? What should the center back pairing be for Real Madrid? Let us know everything in the comments down below. Slap a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel because, we're back. We took a little bit of a break. We haven't been posting much, but we're back. I'm sure you noticed we got different backgrounds. Everything is different. We're back. That's all I can say. We're back.
Yeah, we're finally, moved in. We're in the middle of, moving from place to place. So we're settled in a little bit more. I'm kind of sitting on the floor here. We're going to get a better setup eventually, but it's just about, finally getting back a little bit into a rhythm and making some videos.
Yeah, exactly. So like I said, let us know everything in the comments down below. Subscribe to the channel. But I think without further ado, I'm Zach.
I'm G.
And we'll see you next time for another video. Peace.